Welcome in. Come tell a friend about your Wakanda RN. So for me, man, it's Sunday and it's still Juneteenth weekend. I hope everybody had a healthy and celebratory Juneteenth. So I'm happy to announce that and happy to be here today. And I got a few subjects for you guys today, man. I'm not here to waste your time. So man, let's get into it. So we got a few subjects. My first subject is someone on social media talked about how COVID and the situation in Iran, they're compatible. So maybe if you're not in the know, maybe you're on a social media retreat. I don't know. But so recently, the United States, led by President Trump, announced that Iran was bombed. There was 3 nuclear sites that were bombed. And of course, you have the Israel-Iran conflict that's been going on. Uh, and so United States had got involved and decided to bomb Iran. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm some political major. I'm not going to sit here and do that. I speak on things from a nurse slash healthcare perspective on things. So there's people who've already given their business perspective, their financial perspective. I mean, you got all this stuff going on. And I get it, man. It's a hot topic. So people are just saying pretty much whatever comes to their mind. And so I'm here today to kind of bring my own little perspective in the small context because, you're going to see people on social media that are going to just try to hop on a hot topic. So one particular individual decided to get on social media and literally talk about how comparing COVID to Iran. And the reason he compared the two, the situation in Iran and the COVID, he talked about how nurses are essential healthcare workers. And because nurses are essential healthcare workers, if there anything were to happen here, then we're going to be part of that essential workers, blah, 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 blah. Our response to that is simple. Have you lost your mind? Like, have you lost it? Because that is the furthest thing from the truth. Yes, we had COVID, which was an actual pandemic. And yes, we were deemed essential workers. Why? Because we were needed in the particular areas where services were absolutely necessary. Okay. So you can't just, because of pandemics going on, you can't just leave, your granny in the nursing home. You can't just not take care of people in the hospital. We were deemed essential to our society. Right. So you're talking about an actual pandemic comparing to if a situation happened here in the United States, which I suggest you do your research because the chances of that of actually happening are pretty low. It's cool to talk about fear mongering. It's cool to talk about, what could happen and all this and that. And is there a possibility? Sure. But is it slim? Absolutely. Like the chances of that really happening are really, really slim. And I suggest you do your research. I did mine, so I need you to do yours. Okay. So if you're listening to this, you're a healthcare worker, it's not even close to comparable. It's not even close. So let me give you, so those who are listening, if you do not know, I know tensions get high and I know we can forget when we get stressed, but let me give you at least a list of some resources that we have here. If a disaster like that were to happen, let me give you a list of resources. Okay. So first we have FEMA. We have FEMA. So maybe you're new. Maybe you never heard of FEMA. Okay. It is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. They provide all kind of government assistance during a disaster. So that's first and foremost. Second off, we have the American Red Cross. They provide emergency shelter, food, health services, and disaster cleanup. So we got the American Red Cross. We have Salvation Army that does mass feedings. They do mobile food canteens, emotional, spiritual care. We got Team Rubicon, veteran-led disaster response and rebuilding. And then that's not excluding your local and state emergency agencies. So unless you are a healthcare worker that is a part of that, it's not like you're going to be called. It's like, okay, well, we had a bombing that happened in North Carolina, God forbid. And so we need all nurses go to North Carolina. It's like, no, if you're part of the disaster emergency response and you're part of the Red Cross or something, sure, you may be called to go there. Or maybe you feel like maybe you want to go help, right? So you can do that. But it's not like nurses all over the country have to go to this spot if a war broke out. So stop the fear mongering. Stop listening to people on the internet because that is absurd, bro. That is absolutely absurd. Because somebody literally on the internet compared COVID to the situation how Iran can affect here in the United States. That is absolutely absurd. That is absurd. So let's debunk that and get that out the way. Now, if you happen to be stationed over there, one of the military bases or whatever, I don't know what's going on with that situation, but so far, as of this recording, none of the military bases that are near Iran have been affected. So that may be a totally different situation if you're stationed over there. But here in the United States, it's not happening. It's just not happening. So let's just get that out the way because I could. It's crazy the stuff I see. I'm just like I got to say something because that is absolutely absurd. So let's start there. Okay, so another subject I would like to talk about is BlackRock suing UnitedHealth. I've been seeing this on the internet. So the main credible source that I was seeing was I think it's by yeah CNBC is the one that I saw. It's the one that I saw. Cool. Let's see here. All right. It's kind of small. All right. So let's go back here. So what I could see here is United Healthcare sued by shareholders over reaction to the CEO's unaliving. This was published on May 8th, 2025. So there's a group of investors suing United Healthcare Group, accusing the company of misleading them after the unaliving of its CEO, Brian Thompson. The class action lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York accuses the health insurance company of not initially adjusting their 2025 net earning outlook to favor how the Thompsons' unaliving would affect their operations. On December 3rd, a day before Thompson was fatally shot, the company issued guidance that included net earnings of $28.15 to $28.65 per share and adjusted net earnings of $29.50 to $30 per share, the suit notes. And on January 16th, the company announced that it was sticking with its old forecast. The investors describe this as materially false and misleading, pointing to the immense public scrutiny the company and the broader health insurance industry experienced in the wake of the unaliving. The group, which is seeking unspecified damages, argued the public backlash prevented the company from pursuing the aggressive anti-consumer tactics it would need to choose its earning goals. As such, the company was deliberately reckless in doubling down on its previously issued guidance, the suit reads. Well, so let's go back here, man. Like, it is absolutely, it is insane to me. It is insane to me. So, I mean, there's a little bit to break down there. But if you think about in the wake of the previous CEO, the company, so basically they are suing the company because it is not pursuing the anti consumer politics and tactics. Can you believe that? Basically, the suit is mad. It's like, okay, so we invested in y'all, and because we want to make money, right? We invested in y'all, and you guys were pretty much ruthless before, and now that you've backed off and you're losing money, that's not what we signed up for. I know this is popular, but people say this is the type of greed. This is the type of greed that you hear about in the Bible. You see about in the Bible. I mean, investing in an insurance company for the money or health insurance company for the money is absurd. Just for the money is absurd. I mean, my suggestion is you can make money and investing in other projects, but just because somebody had to change their philosophy in wake of their previous CEO, and I'm like, did people forget? You shareholder, did you forget of why the unaliving of Brian Thompson happened in the first place? Now, I'm not sitting here saying that the act itself was correct, but really, this is in wake of, you saw the public reaction. Really, this is in wake of people are tired of dealing with high insurance prices. They're tired of jumping through hoops. They're tired of having to go through all these steps, all these hoops just to get services. There's people that just want basic services. And or sometimes they really need certain medications, but it requires a prior authorization that requires another prior authorization, that requires another prior authorization just to get the medication. And a lot of times they don't even get that because their insurance company is denying their claims. And then so therefore the insurance company is making more of a buck. So you got this going on, and but this, y'all, I'm telling you, it's a crazy evil world that we live in. The fact that you got people that are mad, literally mad at United Health because they're not using their anti-consumer tactics beforehand. It's crazy. Just how immoral can you be? I mean, the love of money is the root of all evil. Earning some money is not evil, but I mean, just you can earn money without the expense of destroying lives. That is absurd to me. But y'all definitely got to let me know what you think about that, because that to me it's absolutely positively absurd. Something else I wanted to talk with you guys about today is there's a nurse who talked about floor segregation. And some of you probably like, what the heck is floor segregation, right? And we're gonna bring that up, man, because up until I really saw this, to be honest with you, I was kind of like, bruh, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't 100% sure, but at the same time, it's like, hey, man, if it's happened, it's happened. So we're going to take a listen to some of this.
Hey, y'all, good morning. So last night I was on a cardiac step-down unit. A couple of the new nurses on the unit were trying to pick my brain about being a pool nurse and what that means and all those kind of things. Something unexpected that people never expect me to say about being a pool nurse is that as a pool nurse, first of all, a pool nurse is somebody that goes to a different unit every day. You can work per diem, which means kind of like on call. You usually have to give like 4 shifts in 6 weeks, and that's your minimum. You can work as much as you want or as little as you want. You get no benefits. Or you can work as a pool nurse and you could be a full-time staff member. You work 3 12-hour shifts a week, but you still go to a different unit every day. Either way is considered pool. Depending on your specialty, whether you're med-surg, tele, ICU, ER, whatever, you go to a different unit every single time that you work, usually, right? And depending on how big your hospital is, you see a lot of different units. And something that I think that people don't be thinking about when they think about pool is that I see the uneven treatment between different units that other people don't see. You know what I'm saying? For instance, I used to work at this one hospital where they had a whole unit that was mostly Black nurses. That unit was a med-surg unit. That unit had the highest ratios. That unit had the least resources. They never had no techs, because if another unit needed a tech, they would pull from that unit first. That unit had the least equipment, the most broke down old equipment, and they somehow also would get cleaned the less. That unit looked older. It was never as kept as the other units, right? And when I started talking to some of the Black nurses about like how they ended up here, because it was such a vast difference, right? They would say to me like, oh, I applied to this unit, this other unit, but they said I would be better fit here. Now, how you better fit from an interview? How you better fit from an interview from a manager that don't manage that unit? If you manage the ER and I apply for the ER, why would you send me to a med-surg unit and tell me that I would be better fit there if you don't manage that unit? How do you know I'm better fit there? Or is it because I'm Black? That's what it's looking like. Or a nurse that works on a specific unit only, they
Okay.
Hey you, yes you, you've made it this far, so go ahead and give a like or a follow. I appreciate it.
So, I mean, she goes on and on. It's a 6-minute video. And then the creator itself, you can see the tag if you want to follow her or if you want to check out the rest of that video, because it's like 6 minutes. So basically, she's saying because she's Black that she feels though that she was discriminated against, and when it comes to moving floors. So as somebody that has had to go to float to different floors, as a ER nurse or as a med-surg nurse, I mean, I've had to float to ICU step down, and it's within, like, I can manage those type of patients and all that. So, I mean, I've had to do that. And of course, me working for a veteran center that had 7 units. And I've had to float from unit to unit, different things like that. And so I've experienced that. And honestly, I have been a subject of, I wouldn't say, for me, it wasn't because I was black. I've had some of the floor segregation because of politics. I've been moved because there was fraternizing going on between a manager and a woman who both at the time were married. And so I got moved, and because here's what the thing was, right? This is story time of Wakanda. So at the time, um, at that time I had a manager and this particular woman, they were having romantic relationships and they were cheating on each other, right? But I remember the two of them individually asked my thoughts, on divorce and remarriage. And I gave like my biblical interpretation of the divorce and remarriage, and they didn't like what I said, and I was like, sharing my thoughts towards it. And so, this particular nurse, like we had a rule of you rotated shifts, or excuse me, you rotated months on how you float. So like in January might be my time to float, like if I'm housed on, let's say, unit 2. For the month of January, I don't have to float. But in February, I'm going to have to float. And when it's your float month, you can literally float anywhere. Any of the 7 units that you can float. Well, this particular nurse, because she was messing with this type of manager, got to a point where she didn't have to float anymore. She didn't float. She stopped floating. So maybe some people can say it's coincidence. I've pointed it out to people who were above me at the time, and they brushed it off like it was nothing. I got told I just need to mind my business. And I'm not joking. So I've seen floor discrimination happen on my end, to where it wasn't because I was black. It was because, they didn't like what was said. And then you had the fraternizing going on. So, I mean, I got moved. I got moved because, of the situation that happened. So, but that was with me personally. Um, but I've had the flow in other areas, and I've never been discriminated because I'm black. But however, if you go to the comments, there's people that sharing the same story. So I want to know. So if you're listening to this, you're hearing this, have you ever been discriminated against in your workforce, especially within healthcare? So it doesn't matter if you are black, white, Asian, if you're part of LGBTQ, whatever. Maybe you're tall, maybe you're short, maybe you're strong, maybe you're weak, whatever. Have you ever been discriminated against? Please let me know. On wherever you see this, comment, let me know. I want to hear your story, and just kind of talk about it a little bit. Maybe share it, bring some awareness to others, because at the end of the day, people will use whatever positions of power to try to get whatever they want. So if they want their particular unit to look a certain way, they'll do it. If they want their particular floor to look a certain way, and they have the position of power to do it, they're going to do it. So, which I know not everything is black and white, but if you have had a similar story or similar experience, I would definitely like to know. So please let me know in the comments below. So that situation is crazy. I like hearing perspective. I like hearing people talk about things on the internet. That's the powerful thing, because I think about it before, like you may have just reported it to a manager, right? And it gets nowhere. And you may lose confidence right then and there. Like I try to report it to the manager, but it just stopped. You know what I'm saying? Or you try to report higher up. It's to go up the chain of command, but let's say it just stopped right then and there. So it's kind of cool that now people have platforms to be like, okay, I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share my side. And for better or for worse, I mean, we at least get to hear the perspective of that one individual. When times passed, it's like they didn't have a voice. You didn't have a voice. So I'm glad people have these platforms to be able to do so. Okay. So, y'all. I saw a video recently with Lindsay Scrubhacks, who talked about, basically she did a skit about management, the unrealistic expectations, how how out of touch management can be. And so you have a charge nurse who is running the shift, and she's already talked about she's shorthanded. You have, your new grad, and, you may have another seasoned nurse, and they're doing the best that they can with the resources and materials that they have, and they're struggling. They're having a hard time. And yet you have management, CEO, whoever comes up in there, happy's get out, and she's trying to talk to a staff member and say, hey, you need to gather up everybody. I have some very important news I need to share. Da, 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 da. And then so you have different nurses, different healthcare workers in different settings. You got one lady that's on the toilet. You got the charge nurse that's knee deep in a cold brown. If you know, you know what I'm saying? The new grad is just there, you got different scenarios that's going on. I'm thinking that's pretty cool because that's pretty much what's going on, right? In a hospital setting or anywhere really. And then you have this one person. You have literally one person who is wanting to just disrupt the whole thing. And what do you think? What do you think? Some of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but what do you think this management person is going to say? Do you think it's going to be an increase in pay? Do you think it's going to be more staff members? Do you think like they're going to bring the best food in town to try to show their appreciation? What do you guys think happened in this scenario here? And it's supposed to be a skit, but it's so close. It is so close. It is the truth. Whether you want to accept it or not, it is the truth if you've worked in those settings, right? Well, she finally gathers everybody up. Everybody finally has a brief second, right? Because they're so busy. They have a brief second. And she decides to tell them, today, we're going to stop wearing Crocs. Stop wearing Crocs. Hold the press, right? Just stop everything. We're going to stop wearing Crocs because they're unprofessional. And the giblets on those Crocs are so unprofessional. Like they have to go. They have to go. So, and some of you probably thinking this can't happen. I know a nurse personally this has happened to, that a policy was put in place that they no longer want them wearing Crocs because it looks unprofessional. So I don't like hearing arguments on professionalism from a lot of people that manage healthcare, to be completely honest with you, because they're so out of touch with reality. I would like to have fully staffed units, fully staffed floors before we talking about professionalism. Can we do that first? That would be fantastic. You know what I'm saying? But when you're already undermanned, you're already understaffed, and here you are preaching about professionalism, that's the least of our concerns right now. Yes, we want to maintain professionalism. Yes, we want people to look the part and sound the part. Yes, we want people to agree with the company vision and mission and statement and blah, 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 blah. Yes, all that is important. But we need staff. We have to have staff. We need to retain staff. It's really, really that simple. Because once you get staff, you can kind of focus on the other stuff. You got to get staff, you got to retain staff. And that is important, retaining staff members. But unfortunately, this is true. This has happened in multiple facilities around the country, to where they're obsessed over Crocs and giblets and accessories and hair and nails and yada, yada, yada. I've heard stuff over the last few months. I'm just like, we are focused on the wrong thing. I even saw, you can look it up. You can look at the video. I even saw a video that I think some nurses are trying to have fun with it now, which they always do, to take a negative situation and make it fun. To where there's a viral video of a pastor that's saying something about can't have horsehair in the hospital. You can't have horsehair in a hospital? What are we talking about? Like, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's really weird right now. We live in a weird time. I was about to go on a tangent, but I'm not going to do it. Not yet. Not yet. Everybody has something to say about healthcare workers. Everybody has something to say. And the sad thing is, it's like, but there's certain stereotypes, and I'm just calling what I see. I'm a referee. I call like I see it. There's been people, especially the last few months, that have been taking shots at certain stereotypes. When you think of horse hair, there's a certain ethnic group that pops in your mind. But it's like, I don't care if they have horse hair. Most of the time, the people have horse hair. They have their hair in a professional manner anyway. Who cares what kind of hair they have? But this dude was like, they have horse hair. They have horse hair. You just look it up. Just look it up. So, look, man, what y'all got to let me know what y'all think about all this mess. All this mess. And it's kind of funny because I know people sometimes they'll watch shows or get on podcasts. They're like, well, how do you find stuff to talk about? There's always people talking about healthcare. I don't know. You know, there's always something weird going on within healthcare. There's always something going on. But anyway, so if you enjoyed this video, give me a follow. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe. Please donate to the channel. It goes a long, long way. Consider becoming a subscriber on my Buzzsprout, because you can just, hey man, just support your boy. $3 a month. It goes a long way. Just give me a like, give me a follow. You can follow me on all platforms, Wakanda RN on YouTube, Conda's World, anywhere that there's a podcast. So some of you may be listening to this for the first time, and you may have found me on Amazon. Maybe you found me on Apple. Just give your boy a follow, man. Give your boy a follow, subscribe. It really, really goes a long way. So yeah, man, thank y'all for tuning in with your Wakanda RN, man. I love you guys. Hope you guys have a blessed start to your week. And until next time.